I feel good about this video. Let's get started. So last time, we don't even have to recap mentally. We can just look because that's what we're doing. What did we do last time? npm run dev, npm node package manager run, access the scripts, dev. Let me make sure things are open. Here we go. Last time, it was 3 days ago. I'm behind, but image tokens, TSX, randomness, and a live design teardown. Ooh, yeah, we changed it up a little bit. What is the difference in Claude token usage for images? I think it was like 80%. Okay. Screenshot could be 11 to 1600, 4800. So, and that's when it analyzes it. So a poor behavior that I do sometimes is I'll drop an entire image into Claude Code. Like, not what do I mean an image? Let's say I want like to put a screenshot somewhere. I'll go to potatoes.com. So I'll go to my potatoes website, and I want to like say like, oh, put this screenshot somewhere on the website. I would go like this, and I'll drag the image. Well, now we have to put it in downloads, and I'll just drop it in there. This is like an expensive operation. How expensive is it for me to put an image like that in Claude Code? So is there a way to get VS Code to do an integrated? Yeah. So the answer to this was yes. I think this was correct, which was good. What is localizable? That has to do with locale and language. You might be like, if I search this page, go localizable, it'll show me this here, right? And in code, I might search for it, and because something like let's look at like at a high level things that I think are always there. So there's actually something really cool I want to work on today, so stick around, but I just want to make sure that we get back up to speed. So, all right, perfect example, the open API key. So if I go to, I think it was what, 4747, believe that it's in here, chat, dang it, I'm gonna have to forget keys so that we can show, bring your own key. So if we do bring your own, we'll see bring your own key. See how I could search for it, and now I could do like www. It immediately gets reflected because we're using a live server known as Vite. We learned that on day one. Bring your own key. Excellent. This is all well and good. However, if we were making this localizable, we might have it such that, okay, the chat calls directly from your browser using a key you paste it here. I don't want to be offensive. There are no examples here that I can find that would be different in like British English, but American English and British English might come across differently. So one might put into these, like I'm used to doing this in Flutter and in iOS, but I'm sure it'd be something like some local, you know what? What are we even talking about? Why would I do it this way? I could just ask it. In a TSX React project implementing localizable strings would probably involve referencing a key instead of, what is it? Would reference a key instead of a hard-coded string, then some localizable, maybe cache/service would detect the user's preference. Yeah? I'm going to tell it. Here, I'm putting another image in. As you can see here, I'm going to show this one too. If I search in the code base, for bring your own key, I can quickly find this file. One thing I've noticed with localizable in iOS, localizable implementations in iOS and Flutter, is that this makes searching for files more difficult. Difficult is the wrong word, more time consuming. Time consuming. I search the string shows me a key. The key might be like property driven, i.e. home page dot, it could even be home dot page dot modal, or no, we do like side dot bar dot debug dot API key title. Then that key is referenced to equal some var, and then in React or in the TSX component, I would need to reference and unpack it. I don't know if I've done that in, I don't know if I have done that with a website, web app yet. Please include that as an entry for today, discussing the truth of what we've spoken about. And okay, so the thing that I wanted to like really demonstrate that's exciting. First things first, I have to ask this thing questions to get it kicked off so that we like actually have something. But if we go to potatoliterature.com, we've got this. I like this. I like this. It's a reader. It was pretty simple to make. I actually prompted to make this. And if we wanted to dig into the code for this, that's great. I don't need to do that. In Potato Literature Web, I just remember that, we have a reader of books. Also, in Potatoes Comics, we have a more sophisticated reader. The one with that, it's just not deployed yet. What makes it more sophisticated is I treat it like you have volumes, then you have chapters, and then you have spreads or pages. A spread is 2 pages. So we have a more sophisticated one. I am curious, do you think that with that we'd be able to build a similar reader for any given day? It would be additive. We would not remove the current functionality, but the goal would be to create a brochure automatically from any day of questions, as well as some heuristic to backfill, which may involve a bit of schema drift, but I want to run it by you first. What do I mean by a brochure? I think it would be cool if there were 6 panel or 3 columns, i.e. 3 columns, maybe 9 sections per side. So 19 or 18 sections. Each section describing something. The thing is, we're going very, this is very personalized to how I'm building this. But if you were to build something like this, you would probably want it to pick up where you left off. So what do I mean by that? With the way we've been building this, every time we ask a question, it encodes it into the system. So it already built it, right? In the TSX React, there's localizing strings mean referencing a key instead of yes on the model, with one important twist. The React pattern libraries, a provider context at the root holds the active locale, and a local message catalog. Usually one JSON file per language, n.json, s.json. Locale negotiation detects the user preference from navigator.language, a saved setting, or URL segment exactly. The thing that makes Swift let her bounce you through 3 to 4 is it a generated constant layer localizable strings. Exactly. Unpacking the view. React typically has no generated var. The key maps directly to an en.json. So worst case is 2 hops. But those hops make it actually, I think it makes my coding slower. I bet AI makes it really easy to just like spin these up quickly. You could just tell it like, hey, run script, and turn my entire project into something available for everyone in a bunch of different languages. Now, personally, I wouldn't recommend that and really take nothing that I say as a recommendation other than I will assert this recommendation. I recommend that you look at what's possible and try and fulfill whatever requirement or dream that you have, like using what's possible. Really consider your possibilities. The deeper truth, the searchability tax is a choice, not inherent to I. That means internationalization. 2 schools exist. Key-based, not English lives in. The English lives only in the catalog, so searching finds it in English.json, nothing more. It's a screen. For an honest point, this project is not localized yet. We don't need it to be localized right now because it's just, for me, we might want to localize it later. But, and we got our potato. Love that. So, I'm curious as to how it's, okay. Each section describing something that we learned. Oh, the reason I'm saying I'm so bad at staying on topic. If you're new to coding, Git is a good place to start. We're doing this with Claude, so I would recommend at this point in anyone's life, use Claude to start learning how to do this stuff. HTML, yep, that's okay, maybe I did a pretty good job at like outlining what you should start with in the beginning. JavaScript, that's a weird J for this font. I don't like that J. Look at that. What is that? It's like what is it? A zesty eye. Anyways, oh no, it looks like a genie. If I was a genie. TypeScript, a second set of eyes that reads your note before the customer sees it. Yeah, this is, I think, super valuable to understand how this works. But I didn't go into like assembly language or machine code or binary or bits. I think we do that later. If you went to college, you might have gone about this a different way. Vite being our build system, Hydrogen and Spotify. That's how we made potatoes.com. Well, that's not how we made it. It's how we deployed it. And Shopify is how we answer. What do I mean answer? It's how we fulfill. It's fulfillments. The apprentice keeps a small box of skills. A skill is a short manual the apprentice reads before a particular kind of work. It does not change what the apprentice can do. This is new to me. What are we talking about? Apprentice used here. Front end design. The list below is the set that came up during the writing of this manual. Interesting. I like that. All right. So we have all this. But then maybe if you're Linux admin, you might think that kernel is the most important thing you learn first, or Docker. Docker would definitely be something you'd want to learn later. Daemon, you could be a 6-figure earner, 7-figure earner in the software space and never like have to really articulate what a daemon is. It's just a program that's running in the background. But so we have all this stuff, and this is like helping me fill in the dots as I try and explain things. And I think it does a great job. If there are any further questions that you'd have on one of these things, what I'm getting at, I don't personally see this as something that I would want to like. Look at this. This is just a big text blob. It's not really. It doesn't look good, and like it doesn't look horrible, but it's not something that I think the key thing to remember when you're building software is, will someone actually use this? Probably not. The thought that I had for like my business is, it's the same thing with AI engineering and software. Like I made a bunch of apps that may or may not be in like stable condition because they were side projects that I just deployed. They all still work, but what it comes down to is I made software that I wanted to either prove that I could do something or like just as a proof of concept, or a tool that I wanted to use, not something for other people. And I think that is my main swerving. I should be focused more on serving other people and what their needs are, especially within the potato industry. So what I did was I've been listening to this Eye on Potatoes podcast, and one thing that I noticed is there's tons of laws. Then I started there's tons of laws that are on the books. There's like tariffs, there's relationships with external markets outside the country. Because the potato industry is not just limited to Idaho, not just limited to Montana, not just limited to Washington and Washington, D.C. You also got, it's big in Mexico, big in the Philippines, big in I mean, potatoes are from Peru, so we got Peru, China, Russia, Ireland, bunch of countries, India, Israel, all of these countries, the potato industry touches. But since I'm in America, I am focused right now on my initial market research is for the American potato industry. So, what am I even talking about? I can't just call them and be like, hey, do you want to throw AI at your existing system that already works? Maybe their system doesn't work, but how would they even have enough money to pay the bills if their system wasn't working? I think we might have gone through this before, but even my example is Cloudflare. You don't even have to be a software developer to make a bunch of money in this industry, and you probably you know that. But you see something like account name, recents, domains. I use those. I don't use recents. I think it's kind of contrived. Like I know what I'm looking for. Don't think I've ever used investigate, analytics, compute, AI, storage and databases, media, application security, zero trust, networking, delivery and performance, maybe manage account, application security and stuff like that. But there's all these different tools in here. And then if you click on one of them, let's just click on AI. Haven't done this before. Models, workers, AI gateway, vectorize. Like some people's, their entire business model is really just this, and it's baked into Cloudflare. So what I'm getting at is you could spend all your time focused on one vertical like Cloudflare, be really good at it. And I could tell these companies, oh, look at all this fun stuff that I could do for you. But the reality is they don't really need that as much as likely they want money. They want their bottom line impacted, I think, in a lot of cases. Or they want to open markets up. They want more outreach. I think with our society, the way that it's set up, most of the time, though, it's money. And then from after I listened to the Eye on Potatoes podcast and I'm hearing like the actual numbers that are involved in some of the difficulties, I then started watching some like small business association videos, and I had this realization that like I have this notion that farmers or people in the industry might just not be that interested in tech. They're like, I don't know. I mean, it's easy to conceive why they might not be interested, but what am I getting at? If we can, let's just send this one. Each describing something that we learned. Instead of approaching them with like, hey, you should use tech to do X, Y, and Z. You'll get more traffic to your website. They probably already have all the relationships that they need, but maybe there's a level of stochasticity or randomness that impacts parts of their business that might impact their livelihood in such a way where the farm would shut down, the distribution center would get screwed over, the processing plant doesn't meet some standard or something because they couldn't afford to pay for something. So what I did after listening to the Small Business Association thing is one of the things they were emphasizing was there's tons of government programs. And politics aside, they exist. There are programs that will give you money if you're starting a small business. One of the videos I watched spoke about like the boringness of some of these businesses. Like if you consider schools, school desks, school chairs, a company has to manufacture those and ship them off. A lot of people like don't realize that because of our like the way our society is built, there are contracts, government contracts that the government has to bid on. So if you can get into one of these boring businesses that just fulfills this need that's been identified by some government program, you can have a recurring low or like I want to say like highly reliable, but I mean with reliable might be the wrong word. It's just like every year consistent. That's the word. Generally consistent source of income. If you like look into these, whether it's small business loans, grants, a lot of them are even just like you would want to look into it for your state. And I think maybe we can search them up. What is government bid contract small business, something like that, maybe. Federal contracting. To win award bid contracts, you must register in the system for award management. You can use small business to navigate the registration, bidding, and set aside certification processes that help small businesses secure exclusive or competitive federal contracts. And on top of all this, there's also like the legal stuff. And so laws get passed all the time, and it's hard to keep up. But with agentic software, all of a sudden it becomes possible for you to just be like, hey, AI, parse through all of this information, create a digest that's good enough for a farmer to get your foot in the door so that they can read it. Who knows? Maybe the government is actively like creating programs where $5,000, $10,000, $50,000 subsidy for whatever it is that you're doing. Um, those things are happening all the time. I personally don't love how involved the government is in all this stuff because you get these taxes and then it's like a black box where you don't know where your money's going. And then, but like the reality is, if the money is going that way, there has to be some paper trail that like is indicating to us as members of the public that we're allowed to bid on those contracts. Some of them are contracts, some of them are lawyer based, but it opened my mind to the possibility of like very rarely do they take laws off the books. They just keep putting laws on the books. I think that is I think that's less sustainable than like just rapid capital-based growth in general. In a way, I think they're diametrically opposed. One of them is like regulation, we're not going to enforce it. Regulation, we're not going to enforce it. The other one is like make money for money's sake, make money for the shareholder, make money, fiduciary responsibility. This, I guess I'm just on like I'm on my podium just yapping. The thing that clicked though was you don't just want to make software for people or automations for people for the sake of automations. Usually you want to impact their bottom line, make their life a little easier, or get them someone who like you want to serve as someone who can put the pieces together while they quote unquote while they do the hard work. Because I'm not farming. I think I have a deep admiration for the supply chain in general, and I'm often going to refer to it as farming, but that includes truckers, that includes people working at the distribution plants, processing plants. And I've chosen this potatoes, but this applies for all of them really. So if you can find in your city some government contracts, like there's tons of ways, especially if you have like decent credit, to develop relationships and just be the person brokering all of these things. There's tons of businesses who don't want the liability, but are like really good at their trade. And if you can establish those relationships, you're going to be able to, I think you're going to be able to make a lot of money. So what I'm getting at is like, and all of that to say, this whole potato literature thing, this reader right here, it just got my mind thinking. If I could make a brochure, and right now we're going to try and make a brochure for potatoes. We're just going to say, let's see. Yeah, we want to make a brochure. In this case, it's for like what we learned today. But in the greater like the way I'll use it in my business is basically create brochures that summarize legal updates in a particular like you could have one for federal, one for state, one for municipal or city or whatever county, as well as lawyers in your area. Like how I envision it is there's probably tons of legal fees and that go into all of this stuff, and lawyers are busy all the time anyway. But if you could maybe limit the lawyer bill by like providing enough information to know that like I don't like using the word owed, but let's say if the money's available and you didn't know it exists, let's use the word owed in that instance. Let's say money that you're owed because the government's trying to incentivize what you're already doing, but you didn't know that they're going to start giving money to people for that. Like educating those people on ways that they can drastically impact their bottom line. Like sometimes it's not like you might think, oh, like $50,000. Like that's a lot of money to do X, Y, and Z. That might be the cost of one tractor that doesn't even like do a lot of what they wanted, but they were going to invest in a way cheaper tractor that wasn't going to like, it's going to have more issues. They might have more mechanical things that go, more maintenance issues that they have to run into. But like, I bet this applies to every industry. The reality is I don't own infrastructure for like tractors, farms, any of that stuff. But what I do know is how to parse through immense amount of data quickly and learn from it. So that's what we're working on right now. So let's start asking this like what is a small SBA? What is a SBA loan? What is a government contract? How often do laws change, get on the books that impact how much money a farmer, trucker, processor, um, researcher, developer might be owed. How often do laws you get on the books that impact how much it might be owed? How valuable would it be if there were automations in place that would aggregate this research, compile it into a nice brochure, and then blast it to a variety of different farm addresses. So with the thing that I'm working on right now is these potato comics, where like these potatoes are trying to run a business. Potatoes, projects, objectives, tasks, automations, testings, user experience, heuristics, and systems. I think this is a great way to look at like projects, but I think business as a whole too, and how we can serve others. If you're going to serve others, it's good to box that, put it into a container project. It's good to have objectives that have a KPI, a key performance indicator, something that is tied to a number that as that number grows, you get closer and closer to a goal. So that's the KPI, the key performance indicator. Tasks should be like minute enough so that the fulfillment of a task should be able to move the needle on a KPI. Or it could be a group of tasks that do that. Maybe making a video, distributing a video, sending a video. Those are 3 different tasks. In doing so, you should be able to get views up, you know? There should be some association. Automations. So pot, that's like the beginning of it. But then automations, I think sometimes people prematurely automate and they want to, we should automatically do this. If you don't have a place to put those automations, if you don't have like a means to maintain those automations, if you don't have a way to like review the output of those automations or have like a dedicated business role for people to do that, it can be difficult. And there's a huge thing that I skimmed over that I just want to address about the small business stuff. That is, are there incentives for hiring people through these SBA loans or laws are there incentives for hiring people through these SBA loans or laws that would cut down the price of training your employees / subsidize their salaries? So for example, when I got into software engineering, I was, I think, the first computer science apprentice. I thought it was in America. That might not be correct. I'm pretty confident in Wyoming. Paid apprentice for computer science. Went to a coding boot camp. I'm pretty sure the federal government subsidized that. I don't feel great about that, but the fact that it's on the books means that it's probably available for anyone who's like willing to go out and find out if they qualify. So in this instance, what I'm getting at is maybe like you have this, I think I'm more of like a vision person, but also a technical person. I like to get into the technical details and I like to speak on the vision, which are like 2 very opposite sides of things. I'm not really into sales. I don't think I'm like really a marketing oriented person. I get the idea, but since I'm the person making so much, I think I would be great at marketing other people's stuff, but my own stuff, I'm more or less like, I know myself too well to think that you should be buying anything from me. But like at the same time, I think that changes over time because like, I think this stuff looks pretty cool. Like I like the art direction that I'm going. But until I have actualized all the different products, it's hard for me to say like buy this stuff or get excited for something that doesn't exist yet. It exists in my head. I don't like trying to sell someone on my dream. I love the idea of someone else has a dream and we're working on making it happen and sharing that. But what I'm getting at is they will subsidize the amount you have to pay someone. And you think about it, it's good because, or like, it's at least something that can buffer this huge transition period we're going through in the world right now. Like AI's taking a bunch of people's jobs. There's tons of people who don't know what they're going to do with their life because AI is just going to do it for them. But the government's got money that they're giving out to people who dive into it. And then some people will be so anti-AI that they won't use AI to find out how they can take advantage of those systems. They're not going to go through the law books a lot of times. Maybe they will, but you could parse through them all and say like, oh, that's a valid one. And if you have enough socials, and I mean, what do I mean by socials? You need entities, individuals. If you can work together with others, you can orchestrate some really powerful things. You can have like a vision person, you could have a marketer, you can have a finance officer, you can have a salesperson, a sales team, designers, developers. All of these roles, entities, socials, like, what am I getting at? The government will give you money. That's really what I'm getting at. Or at least that's what these videos told me. And that's why I'm like, all right, well, if I make brochures, and these brochures have some comics from these potatoes comics things that I was going to build anyway, it's good enough to not throw out. If there are some claims that there's maybe like $50,000 in small business associations alleviation, whether like for example, when COVID hit, when a virus hits and there's like these massive subsidies, how do you adequately reach out to all the people who got affected by it? I'm not sure that they're doing that. I think that outreach is insanely valuable in and of itself. And you can start to I think establishing relationships before you start trying to sell people on things is important. If you're trying to sell someone on something just because you think that they need it, I think that's the wrong way to go about it. Finding out if they need it is important first. I'm interested in building automations, technologies, working on projects for people, but I don't want to just build automations for automation's sake and then say, hey, now you have to manage this and you're going to have me on retainer for $5,000 a month. I'll do that for people who want a relationship with me, or if they just want me to do that part for them. But I don't want to do that to someone who like literally does not need it. Some automations are so contrived is what I'm getting at. So 60 seconds across the 6-day incubate. No, I don't know if, let's see, brochure. It's ugly. It's going to fix itself. I'm pretty confident. This is what the buttons look like before, what is it? They look like something similar before. We have to just keep saying yes. So, okay. In summary, oh yeah, so you'd have like, because I could have the brochure showing like federal, state, and local, as well as some news with regard to the potato industry, as well as maybe like, I could have paid advertising. It could get annoying at that point, but if I needed to pay for the printing costs and distribution, and I ideally want to develop these relationships, so I'm going to have a phone number or that they can call, or an email, or a form, or a survey link that they can click to go out on. I think it's better than just blasting out these emails, because in my mind, a lot of these farmers probably have families, and they might be more engaged in different parts. Maybe they don't realize how hard their family's working for them. Maybe they do, but I mean, I was an ungrateful kid, I think, in a lot of ways. Very grateful for everything now. If they see it, and then we could speak to them on some level and also show them that maybe like the work that they see that their family doing is not necessarily something that they have to do. Maybe they can do a different part of the business to help like alleviate some of the stress and responsibilities. That could be awesome. As well as after doing all of this is on one side just for the farmers, right? Or the truckers or whoever. But I know a lot of them, they need labor. There's a labor shortage, people who don't want to work. There's also probably the opportunity to build brochures specifically for people who are like maybe in a position where they need money. They want or they want a future. They need opportunity. They just don't know that it's there for them. And instead of waiting for people who don't know what's possible, we reach out to them and try and build them something exciting because of that. So I don't know if it's gonna, okay, the brochure might be a little bit better now. Still not there. Okay, I'm gonna just tell it now. Toggling between both the brochure and the reader, break both. The reader works if I don't try the brochure. Is it telling me that it doesn't work? How often does it? All of those questions, aren't you supposed to be encoding them into my web app? Why are you answering them in this session. Doesn't the Claude MD indicate what to do with those questions? Yeah, I mean, it's the dev location. Yeah, because I mean, this isn't just about I mean, I think in a way this is all about development because um, I don't know if you're watching this and you've gotten this far. I don't know what part of this you might be interested in. I'm gonna pound it with some questions, other questions related to this. We might as well be the seed who's treat this as a seed and see what other parts of this might be confusing. So yes, there's the React pattern libraries, provider context. We read this before. End.json. Bring your own key. You write that'll translate it. Okay, internationalization. The engineering of an app swapped out. Language, navigator language. There's tons of this here. Okay, message catalog. The per language store of translatable strings. Usually, it's probably asking me a question. As an aside, yesterday, or it might have been this morning, they banned Mythos. I only got a little work on Mythos, but one thing that I did get, I just want to share real quick, is so I have this Explore the Cell app, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to. Maybe, hopefully, is it going to open? It will. All right. So this is the one shot. So okay, what is a one shot? What is a one shot when it comes to AI engineering? Let me own the second one first. So I one-shotted this. I gave it this. We have all these things, right? These already exist before. And I like how they don't say play anymore. They all used to say play right here because there were a bunch of different games. Let me see this one. Okay, so it has been changed. There was a fun particle game that they overrode. Oh, back it up, back it up. This was the first app I ever made. Explore the Cell. Enter. It was just this. And you can go over here. Oh, well, that would be, you can go over, where is it? Oh, I guess it's over here now. It used to be a different page. But so that was the app. Then the one time that I maxed out my Claude subscription was I looked at all of these particles, atoms. I said, I just mentally went through like 22 different layers of reality from nothingness itself to something to cells, tissues, organs. I think we go pretty deep. Yeah. Farm systems, supply chain, financials, planets. We have all of these different things, right? Cosmic structures, multiverse, universe, infinity. So the one time I maxed it out, I said, hey, you are my orchestration agent. Spawn off another agent to do X, to do Y, to do Z, to do A, to do B, to do C. What was A, B, C, and D? It was to create these like explanations of what these things are, but then on top of that, to create a game associated with each. Out of the 22, maybe 4 of the games were fun. Most of the games were mid, and like quite a few of the games did not work. Maybe like 6 games didn't. Like they weren't even a game. It was just like a little demonstration of animations and interactivity. But what I did, so and in doing that, I tried to spin up I call them Beyblades or tops, where you let it, and I treat my projects like this too, because all of them require active maintenance all the time. I said, work on this thing with this goal, work on this thing with this goal, work on this thing with this goal, spin them up, and you really just get locked in. You're like, you feel like you're in the Matrix. You got all these things, and you're just saying, yep, do this. Yep, do this. Yep, do this. Yep, do this. And when you use an agent framework like OpenClaw or Hermes, I think that a lot of it will just know what to do by itself. But I ended up maxing out my Claude subscription because it was doing all these things. It recently, because so many of the games were mid, I said, take all those games out and turn it into a game like a board game, whether it's like Candyland or Mario Party or something like that, and like supercharge the games. And I told it which games were fun. So we're going to see which games those are. It made this. This didn't exist before. Spuddle Roll. the Void power up, Void Shield, blocks your next ATP loss. I think the like quote unquote coins, which would be the equivalent in Mario Party, are now ATP, which stands for adenine triphosphate, which is energy. Thought that was a cool twist. That was emergent. I didn't say it to do that. I mean, it probably detected it because everything here is about like life. The name of the app is Explore the Cell. It makes sense. Mini game time. Big bang. Big bang. Sparks of matter flash into the void. Tap them before they fade. Click, click, boom. Although Saturday, yeah. So I missed. Nope, you can't click those ones. And if I do, bad happens. So this is me playing on a simulator right now. I think no, it would be a lot easier on mobile, and I want it to be like real time. So all your friends would be playing this. I think that would be cool. All right, so there's this one, and there were like a few other games that got created. So we're gonna shut this one off for now because there's some things I want to describe because if I restart this app, this everything I just showed you might not work anymore, might not exist anymore because I asked it to do something kind of drastic. Explore, we just did the Big Bang. It might be going in order. Explore something or nothing. This one I was not impressed by this one. I think it's almost exactly the same. You just click the shapes. If you click these, it's bad news. So we don't like that. I don't know why I just took a screenshot. But we're gonna go through because the one game that I'm constantly impressed by was the particles one. It's this one. All right, we're here now. So before the game was you have to tap it to spin them and have them go at like the same rate, but now it's like you want to click them when they're about to tap. But one thing that I think could change is you see these concentric circles. I was like, well, what if like you can imagine if they're spinning at a certain rate that if it's a constant rate, there's a chance that they might, like if there were two more spinning and then two more inside spinning, that they might at some point like line up and all of them would collide at once and you get this big bonus. So that might be how this, I already told the system to update according to my new wishes. I'm not sure how it's going to come out, but we're going to see it once we get to the last one. I was also, I think, impressed with the atoms one. This app used to be stinky, but there were some changes that I had to make. So this is negative. To make hydrogen, we need negative, positive. Great. Now we need negative, negative, positive, neutral, neutral. We need one more positive. Bang. So as you can see here, one thing that I'm not impressed by is negative. There's nothing that it's circling. That's kind of weird. And plus, I don't even have any protons here. Like there's an order to building these things. And also, from what I had read, when I was in physics, the neutron is mainly meant to stabilize these things. So what I want is if there's, let's say, all these positive ones, I would say that this is becoming unstable and should start to push away from each other instead of like allow it to group up. Like what I'm thinking is we want to follow like the actual physical, like the way that the physics work behind it. So I told it to do that. We're going to see if it did that. Molecule mixer. I don't think I got to this one. We're trying to make hydrogen plus we made hydrochloride. All right. This goes hard if you ask me. Neutral, hydrogen. One thing I'm noticing about this is there's no like antagonistic force. I don't feel like I'm like, I bet if I click the wrong thing, bad. Yeah, but hydrogen. In a way, it's just me. How fast can you look at what you need and then click the things? Where are the H's? Are there H's? There are no H's. This game is busted. Can I just click H again? Yeah, okay, so that has a bug. I don't like that at all. But I like the idea that we're building molecules as opposed to building atoms. I still, it has my blessing. Explore the cell, hungry cell. All right, sweet. It made like an agar.io thing, and we had this before. Oh, but it's not. Oh wow, I'm actually impressed. Things look like power-ups, mitochondria, hungry cell. I think it'd be cool if at some point, like, we could eat those peroxisomes, or not peroxisomes. Those might be viruses. But I could see this in like the little game. Part of me thinks that maybe there's too much time. Oh, we got a Golgi. Oh, we got clipped. I want a way to, if I could like hit a button to like attack those things. There's too many of them. All right, it's bopping me, but I'm impressed that it made this. And I mean, this isn't something to write home about, but like sometimes I just want to play a game with my friends that's like really low energy and or high energy, but just silly. Explore, Mitosis Rush. Yeah, this is the format of the originals that we had made. I don't know if it updated these ones. I don't even really know what's going on there. Like, busted. I think we already checked this one out too before. Yeah, so we got to work on all those. But now if we hit play, yeah, as we saw, it'll go through all of those. Now, the big, what is it? What we want to do is just spawn this up. Let's hope it compiles. It made that with Mythos. I'm not doing anything dangerous with Mythos, but they banned it, so we're gonna have to work with Opus 4.8 again. Opus 4.8 slaps. It's not a big deal. Let's see though if it updated the games according to our will. The one I think I complained about this one, didn't I? Big Bang. One, two, three, four. I like how there's like the orbits. Oh, this one's still the same. Whack. I need a refund. You'll never get those hours back. Let's see. Did something change? This one I definitely complained about. So if it hasn't. All right. So it did not do what I asked. I don't like this one. Like, why would I tap those ones? Maybe by accident? Yeah, we got to work on that. Maybe one of the things, it'll ask for permission and then it won't continue. All right, we just shipped the atom builder. Okay, on the orbital ladder, one call I need from you. Noble gas leader. Yeah. So targets are only using the gas locations. Each completion is a noble stable moment. Keep the mixed element list, but just enforce strict. Yeah. I'd go A and have the ladder climb. Yeah. Yeah, let's do. Okay, so I have this one over here. This session. Noble glass ladder. One of the things that I noticed was it's like for trying to build this. We need to keep it tidy. There's just not a lot of time. I don't want this to be like a 5-minute, 20-minute game. I want it to be within 30 to 60 seconds. Yeah, let's do A. So electrons can't orbit nothing. Atom builder stability rules. Also, big. What was the one that we just complained about? I say we like you were complaining. Something or nothing. Also, something or nothing is kind of lame. It's too similar to Big Bang. Big Bang is fun, but I don't think you updated it like I requested, where halfway through more things start to spawn at once. We just need the difficulty to climb at a rate where getting a perfect score becomes impossible. That way we can create a distribution. That way the distribution of likely scores will not encroach on a tie unless both are, and instead they will encroach on peak human performance. But that's not what this channel's about. Really, it's about all of these things. I really would like to see the brochure come to life. Brochure. You know, it's not what I want it to be. Let's make sure the reader works. Yeah, okay, that works. What about side 2? What about side 2? I like the idea that I need to ask around 18 questions so that we can make a brochure every time. I might not have asked enough questions this time, but the format of the brochure is decent for now. We will build on it later. What do I mean by that? Like, you might look at this, you're like, that's not decent. That's the lamest stuff ever. That's literally just a card. Yeah, but I plan on building an automation runbook that could ingest something like this and then make an actually visually appealing card. I say that I plan to do that. Will we do that? Who knows? But I do like how we've now limited to, we want 18. We're not going to do that today, but procurement, federal funds, posted on SamGov, share, stable revenue, heavy compliance. It's funny. It's funny. Procurement. I got this as the recommendation from the Rockstar Developer University as like what my niche would be, because I'm working like with Shopify. That said, I haven't like called suppliers in China, which would give me really good deals on the merch that I'm making. I'm right now just doing quality assurance testing for stuff like this all over print bomber jacket. This t-shirt, I finally got one that I really like. It's the Hanes Gilded. I think it's like 5800. That's the name of the some 4-letter or 4-character number. The idea is with procurement, you're like collecting and gathering information. Maybe what it comes down to is I will just be doing procurement, trying to find the information that's relevant to people and then giving it to them, because, and like ideally a pretty nice way that's not intrusive. I mean, sending mail to people is somewhat intrusive. I won't do like these huge email blasts or mail blasts all at once, but I do think that it is appropriate to just send them information that they might not have at my cost. Sure, they might throw it out, but like I get these value packs in the mail all the time. I didn't ask for them. I don't want those. It just feels, it's clutter in my apartment. I don't like it, you know? But we are 52 minutes in and I'm satisfied with where we went. We're gonna ask one more question and then deploy. Let's say, what makes a good brochure? That's a pretty lame one. That's pretty lame. We could just Google that too. Do some research. What makes a good brochure? Is it concise, visually yeah, I like that. Around a specific goal. Oh, okay. So, yeah, I guess for the goal of these would be to, my goal is to provide value to these individuals so that they can look at me as a resource. I want to be someone who could do this for them, stuff that they don't want to do that I do want to do. So generating leads, educating, yeah, I guess that's for my main goal. It acts as an appetizer. And like I'll also have links to maybe my merchandise if they want to support or they want to rep the potatoes brand or just potatoes. Strategic hierarchy, the hook, a call to action. I don't want to be a competitor in the field. I want to be someone who's linking all these people together. Master brochure designs. That could be a cool video. Ooh, yeah, look at those. I might do a brochure on how to bake a potato, just as an example. Maybe that's our next one. We focus on the potato. But once we get this one, I think it might be 9, but 9. And with 9, we'll at least have one page. Oh, and it's not, I don't like that. We have 8. Hopefully it will be here, but it might not be. Big Bang ready. So yeah, that was today's video. I'm wrapping up right now. Have a good day.